Hey guys, welcome back to another Skyrim mods video, or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today is just a handful of great mods that are fairly new that you might have missed. And as usual, I will admit that these are not really game changing, but they will be hours of fun until you decide to add more mods and break your save and end up starting over anyway. So why not try new mods now? So as usual, all mods will be linked down in the description if you want to download them. And don't forget to endorse that mod author while you're there after 15 minutes. So without further ado, let's dive right in. The first mod up today bringing us to the DLC land, the Soul Cairn, which brings us to one of the most infamous boss, Durnehviir, or if that's how you pronounce his name, but this mod is called Durnehviir Redone. If I did pronounce that wrong, I'm sure you guys will let me know down in the description. But this mod overhauls Durnehviir, taking him from just a skinned dragon to looking pretty ethereal. Not only does this mod redo his dead look, but it also overhauls the meshes for the dragon itself, including the skeleton, making him look a little bigger while also looking a little deadlier. And if you check this mod author's page out, you'll see that they have plenty of other dragon overhauls. This one is just the cherry on top, but the great part about it is that you don't need any of those mods as a requirement. You can just download this mod and it will look completely different than any other dragon you have installed. But as you can see, this does prefer to stick closer to the vanilla dragon rather than using Game of Thrones dragons, so if you use those, this might not match with it. But if you use something else like Fourth Unknowns or this mod author's dragons, then it will blend perfectly, and you'll also have a new badass looking Durnehviir. Up next, another creature mod, but this time not overhauling a vanilla creature, but instead adding a completely new one. This mod is called Leshens, Chakra's creatures, which is just more so the title. And unfortunately, this is one of those mods that require a new save because this mod spawns as your character levels up rather than just being hand placed. This new monster will start to spawn once your character reaches level 35, and they will spawn randomly in the wilderness. And even though they look like trees like Spriggans, they aren't friendly with the creatures around them. Things will start attacking them if you don't do it yourself. And I'm going to be completely honest here, they do use animations that are already inside your game, which means that they use a skeleton of a creature that is there, but I am unsure of what it is because I have a lot of creatures in my game. But these creatures do scale with your character, so even if you're level 50, they will also go up there with you and just basically unarmed attack you until you die. And even though this creature is high fantasy, you're probably expecting high fantasy alchemy items, but nothing really is there. This next mod though, I would absolutely say is game changing if you're willing to step out of your box and give it a try, because it overhauls the Draugrs around Skyrim. This mod is called Draugr, Humanoid Replacer. With this mod, it will give human replacer skeletons to the Draugr around Skyrim, which basically means that now Draugr around Skyrim and inside of crypts, including the ambush ones because this mod replaces them, will start to use new human animations. So if you have Attack Modern Combat Overhaul, they will take full advantage of that and start to really kill your character a lot if you're unprepared. So even though you don't need Attack Modern Combat Overhaul, if you really want to take advantage of this mod to make Draugr actually a challenging opponent that you can't just cheese by backing up, then you probably need Skyrim Combat Animation Revolution, which is basically Scar but for NPCs like Attack Modern Combat is for players. But this does also mean that they will begin to use spells, which means that they will be a lot harder than what you're currently used to. I did run into a cool guy that I decided to name Larry. It was a Draugr that just decided not to attack my character back, but that rarely happened. It was because I had toggle detect off, which just basically means that he couldn't see me, but I could see him. But the next mod also for the same thing. This one is called Skeleton Humanoid Replacer. And while the previous mod for the Draugr one worked for new textures, this one doesn't really do that. It only works for retextures, but if that mod also changes the meshes, like Fourth Unknown or Skeleton HD, then it can't really take advantage of that. But if you can ignore that, then that mod is perfect. But this next mod is called Northern Roadwatch Garb, and as you can see, it is made for Khajiit, but anybody can wear it, but it looks better on cat. And this armor I can't really say is vanilla friendly, but it is Elder Scrolls friendly. Just not maybe Skyrim, but that can't stop you from expanding your mod list. And based on the way that this armor looks up close, I would assume that this mod comes in 4K textures, but the mod page does not say. And it also is made for the vanilla body, so there will be no body slide. And considering this mod just came out, I wouldn't expect a patch anytime soon. But if you do love HDT armors that you don't have to worry about your character clipping through because of a skirt, then this mod is for you. And it works for both male and female. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but it should definitely be mentioned because too many armors are just for one gender. And the best part is that this armor doesn't have to be just for your character. If you want to go the extra step, then you can install the integration patch, which does not work if you use Skypatcher. Skypatcher will take effect over this mod. but taking advantage of the ESP, it will distribute it to 3 named NPCs. Up next, just a simple texture mod, but I decided to showcase it anyway. This mod is called HFS Redone. The reason why I like this mod is because it uses base object swapper, if you so choose, to replace all the bowls around Skyrim. And the reason why I like it is because it doesn't just use one texture to replace it for compatibility reasons. This mod instead takes that extra step to take advantage of base object swapper, dynamically distributing every single bowl across Skyrim, and there's about 3 of them that I could see, unless I missed a few. But 3 is better than 1. And this next mod probably even more simple, but this mod is called Fishtail Hair. Adding a new hairstyle to your game, or wig if you grab the optional file, that is for female characters that has wonderful HCT tied to. And I said tied because it's like braided, that was supposed to be a pun, but we're just gonna skip over that. And we'll also skip over the part that my character has a neck seam. I'll probably fix that in the next video, but as you can see, if you want new hairstyles added to your game, maybe just one at a time, then this is for you. This next mod though is a new take on what we see around Skyrim. This mod is called Dirt Roads for Skyrim. I had to disable my northern roads just to see the full effect of this mod, and I still haven't enabled it. Just a fun fact. But this mod removes all the pebbles and stones from the road and replaces it with the dirt texture that you currently use. So this will look as good as you make it. I'm currently using tomato landscapes, and as you can see, the dirt texture for tomato landscapes is pretty simple, so it isn't super parallax. But if you use something like the mod author suggests, Fantasia landscapes, if I said that correctly, then it will look a little better, at least based on their opinion. And because this makes pretty much no landscape edits, it's pretty much compatible with anything, as if you weren't using northern roads and just the regular road. Everything pretty much works with that as long as you grab a patch. But this one itself does not need any patches, you can just plug and play this. This next mod is probably the biggest mod of this mod list with the smallest download size. This mod is called Seeking Magic. With this mod, it adds in over a dozen Seeking Magic to your game that all are around master spell level. When you cast the spells, it will summon about 6 orbs that will slowly rotate around your character until you get into combat, and then they will actively seek out enemies. And this mod has a Seeking Magic spell for pretty much every single effect inside of Skyrim, from just basic damage spells to even area of effect spells that will turn enemies into peaceful enemies, or cast utility spells for allies around you, so you don't have to actively monitor them. But the downside of this mod is that you can only have one of these spells active at a time, so you can't spam them. And this spell alone was already great enough for me, because when you do cast a spell, if it is currently affecting an enemy, you can switch to another spell and use it. It won't cancel the spell, so you can combine multiple of them, you just cannot cast them at the same time because the remaining spell orbs will disappear. And the only reason why I included this clip is because I didn't know werewolves were launching giants like that in the vanilla game. I did nothing to make them that strong. And while this spell pack does pretty much make magic casting or playing a spellcaster a lot easier, considering you can fire and just forget, or just switch to something else and start firing spells, the attack damage of these aren't really that strong. My character is level 1 here, and I am using Sky Valor. They're one-shotting weaker enemies, but when you start getting to the stronger, maybe 5 or up, it doesn't really do too much damage to them, while I have low magic damage myself. So they can scale with your magic damage, but you don't have to worry about being overpowered. But I especially like this build that applies wards to friendly NPCs around you once they get into combat. It does it dynamically, so you don't have to aim yourself. That's the magic of this mod. It's honestly weird to see a mod like this go underrated when it does such great things. Another simple mod that I decided to add to this video, which was kind of last second, but this mod is called Cisterns of Skyrim. Using Salt the Simp's new texture replaces the rain barrels around Skyrim that generally NPCs use to drink water out of. But it also goes a step further and replaces the bloody ones that generally are super ugly inside of Castle Volkihar. I don't know what it was, but Bethesda was terrible at making textures with blood involved. This mod even goes a step further than just being a remesh and retexture. It allows you to use base object swapper to make these interactable. Before, they were kind of just static objects, you couldn't do anything with it, but now if you have a survival mod, you can gather water, or if you're a vampire, you can now make blood potions by just interacting with it. And on the immersive side of things, it also adds a dripping water effect from the barrel, but it is pretty rare to see it. But once you do, you'll realize that it is immersive like me. I will say though, if you do faceplant these, you will see that the textures aren't really 4 or 8K if it goes up to that. They're about 2K, but it is optimized. This next mod though is called Mind Flayers. I figured I'd put this one in considering it just came out, but this one adds in the Mind Flayers from Baldur's Gate 3 with their own new models. It doesn't steal the models from Baldur's Gate 3. Someone in the comment section said they should start doing that, but I'm not entirely sure that would be legal. But this adds in new Mind Flayers that spawn in Apocrypha, and they have their own spells that kind of let them get stuck sometimes. They were just running back and forth casting it, but for the most part it does work and they blend right into Apocrypha if you were running out of creatures to kill in there. But that does not mean these will be easy to kill. And that was pretty much it for today, guys. Let me know what you thought about this selection of mods. I didn't go super crazy here, I just mentioned a lot of new mods and underrated mods that I could find. I'll probably go back further in the next video, but as of right now, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace and love, guys.